Hey Grauwelt fans, today I wanted to do something a little different in terms of videos. Usually I make videos that are kind of based around a particular subject that has to do with creativity, technique, how to write something, how to build something, how to say something of those sorts. But today I wanted to kind of do something a little different. Before we get started, let me apologize. I'm just kind of looking out the window here. It's dark once again when I sit down to record. It just seems like when I want to record something, it's very dark and overcast outside, and then I wait a day or so and hope that it gets better, and it never does. So I apologize if the lighting is kind of crappy. What I'd like to do with this video and some videos in the future is kind of talk to you about the writing process itself. A little background, the very first Grauwelt book I started about 2 years ago now, a little bit more than 2 years when I started to think about doing that. The writing of it took maybe a quarter or a third of that 2 year time. A lot of it was just thinking about it. And I've already had started to write the second one. No sooner had I finished this draft, and then actually started to lay out the third one. And unfortunately, I'm finding myself in a situation due to a huge number of circumstances, some unfortunate personal things that have come up over the last couple months. But I'm now redoing Grauwelt book number 2 for the third time. I did the first draft, like I said, shortly after writing the first one and completing it. And I tossed that out the window. I didn't really like where it was going because I made some changes that I just wanted to take in a different direction. And then over the last like 5 or 6 months, I had worked on a second draft and I made it like 2/3 of the way through. And just recently I tossed that in the garbage. I just, not literally, but just kind of pushed it aside. And now I'm starting over for the third time. I think I'm finally at a place mentally where I can focus on it more, and it's not so big of a deal. I know a lot of people may think that that sounds insane, that you would write the same book 3 times, but in essence that's what you're going to end up doing. You're going to rewrite it like 20 times anyway, so it's not really that disconcerting. I mean, there's certain things from the other drafts that I can use going forward, but I think it's time to start anew. I'm the kind of guy who just likes to wipe the slate clean and start over again, so that doesn't bother me. So what I want to do with these videos after this one is to talk to you as I go through different phases of writing the next one. So, like how I make an outline, how I make the dialogue and improve the story over time, how I edit and deal with editors. I have like 3 editors that I deal with for structural editing, copywriting, and then kind of like an editor that's my consultant that I just talk to about, like, would this be cool? Does this make sense? What do you think about that? And then of course you have like all your beta readers, all the people out there that give you your hopefully unbiased feedback. So I want to make a series of videos while I'm writing again the second Grauwelt book. And so I don't have to go back and think like, oh, well, this lesson that I learned when writing this, let me tell you about that. I can tell you as it's going on, so we can have a kind of open dialogue between you and I, you subscribers out there and fans, and I, and we can talk back and forth if you're interested in that sort of thing about what it's really like to be in the thick of things, and hopefully we can help each other out in some way. That's my hope with that. So step number 1, as I've covered in some other videos in the past of how I get started writing something, is the inspiration stage. I'm kind of ahead of the game since I already wrote this twice and have thrown it out, and I'm going to start over again, but there's always some new ideas that hit you all the time, and I just want to share something real quick that I'm really looking forward to. I just got it in the mail today, and that is this book right here. It is the History of Ancient Rome. It looks really awesome. I just ordered this from Amazon not too long ago, last week, and I just got it in the mail today. I know that may sound really boring. It's the military and political history of Rome from the time it was a kingdom until the collapse of the empire. And I know that may sound really boring to a lot of people, but honestly, if you're out to write something like fantasy or sci-fi, real-world history is the absolute best place to find points of inspiration, because like I'm fond of saying, like, it's so old it's new. Like, there's so much that happens, so many interesting things that happen in our own worlds past, that if you can use those elements to make fantasy or sci-fi, it's so old it's new. It's like people are discovering it again for the first time, and you really don't have to work as hard as making something up from scratch. That's where I get a lot of ideas for what I do. So at this stage, I'm just going to look back over the previous 2 drafts and write a new outline and just kind of daydream about what direction I want to take this 3rd draft, and hopefully this one kicks off what will be the final book number 2. And I'll just show you right here. I'm really fond of keeping a lot of notebooks. You see this one says ideas for Grauwelt on it, and it's filled with just all kinds of notes while I'm reading books a lot like this one, and of course reading this book right here again. I've probably read the first one, not including for editing, just reading it over again as a complete work, probably 30 times, who knows. But I'll definitely have to read that a couple of times more while I'm working on this so that I can keep the ideas concurrent. And then I'll go through in a notebook like this one. I have a lot of them actually for different purposes. And I'll just go through and pick ideas that I like, things that I think need to be included, and also take some things out. That's always really hard. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be one hell of a trip, I think. Again. So that's really it for this video. The future ones, I'll start to get into exactly how I personally get into writing a story. So the next video, I think, after I'm done doing my outline, I'll sit down and show you what the outline looks like, kind of, and talk about how I piece that together. And then from there, you know, we'll go through taking the outline and actually writing the chapters. And honestly, this first draft, as I make the videos while I'm writing it, is probably going to take 2 or 3 months, maybe. Probably less, actually, since I've already written this a couple of times, so I kind of have a better idea. So maybe 1 or 2 months to redo it again, and I'll show you piece by piece kind of how I go through it. And that should be pretty cool, I think. I also want to very briefly thank the contest entrants. We just had a contest that ended December 7th, and we gave away 5 free autographed copies of The Sword and Its Servant. You'll be receiving your copies very soon. I'm going to have them sent out by the end of this week, and so you should get them following next week, I imagine. And I also want to invite everybody to go to the website, grauwelt.com. I'll put a link in the video itself and also in the description. We are giving away a free sample of The Sword and Its Servant, so you can get this book right here. You get the prologue and the first 2 chapters. So if you sign up for the website, you sign up with your email address, we'll automatically send you the link to the preview book, and you can download that for free. I recommend that everyone take advantage of that if you're interested. It's open to everybody anywhere in the world, so you don't have to worry about your locality. So I'd like you guys to tell me what you think about this, if you'd like to see more videos about me and the process itself. I know this one wasn't a whole lot. I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of introduction. I would recommend that you check out my How to Write a Fantasy Novel video, which I'll also link to in the video and the description of the video down below. And that one I talk more in depth about how I wrote the first Grauwelt book, kind of like the different phases, and how you can emulate that if you're doing a really long project like that. You know, just break it up into little pieces. And let me know if you're interested in this sort of thing, and I'll certainly make more videos or address certain questions if you have them. Just let me know in the comments below. You can also reach me directly at victor.salinas@grauwelt.com and find me on Twitter at VictorASalinas. I'd be glad to answer your questions. I know a couple of you have reached out to me already via email, and you should know by now that I'm very approachable and actually work to serve you. I want to answer any of your questions about the book, about the website, about, you know, how I get my hair like this. Don't forget to comment, rate, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.